UFC fans, we're back across the pond. Is Leon Edwards gonna have some crazy excuses this time? Find out. We have our picks, predictions, and upsets. But before we start, let us know down in the comments your lock of the card and your upset of the card. Starting with, you know what we do. We go from the prelims all the way to the main event. And you know what the UFC loves to do. Make me mispronounce names. At the beginning of every video, we have guram, Kutateladez, and look at the thing above this dude's name. Look at what's above that E. What even is that? We're gonna call him Fernandes. Kaue? We're gonna call him Fernandes. Anyways, guram, 2-2 in the UFC. He is a 425 favorite. Now, y'all know I love to do my research on these fighters. He has great composure under stressful situations. He's good at mixing in kicks, and he has great striking outbursts. He is prone to leaving his chin exposed, but when he leaves his chin exposed, when he's under distress, he's gonna throw right back. He's a pretty solid counterpuncher. Fernandes has patience with his striking, and he utilizes his leg kicks. I'm going with the winner. I am going with guram. I think that he has the better pace. I think with Fernandes being a more patient guy, I don't know if he's going to be able to stand the outburst that Kutateladez is going to put on. So we are going with the 425 favorite to start the card off. After that, we have Nathaniel. I almost said Nathaniel Wood, who is on this card. We have Nathan Fletcher taking on Caolan Loughran. Caolan Loughran. We're 100% pronounced that wrong. Doesn't mean I don't know what I'm talking about, okay? We have Nathan Fletcher 1-0 in the UFC. Loughran 1-2 in the UFC. 166 favorite for Fletcher. Fletcher coming off a submission win. One win by knockout, 7 wins by submission in his MMA career. He has great grappling defense. He uses a lot of his grappling comes off his striking. You would think a guy with that many submissions is more of a I'm going to take you down and submit you guy. A lot of his submissions are coming off him making guys shoot for takedowns because he just has pretty solid power and he has pretty fast striking. Now, Loughran is a guy that is going to absolutely put the pressure on you. He has very, very elite, crisp, precision striking, solid pacing and cardio. A lot of his fights, here's the bad thing. Not a bad thing, kind of a bad thing. A lot of his fights go to the ground. I don't think you want to get on the ground with Nathan Fletcher, even if you're putting him down there in a vulnerable situation. I am rocking with the 166 favorite. Give me Nathan Fletcher with the W. We have Shauba Bannon. We have, see, y'all are going to make me mispronounce this. Puja tomar. Y'all let me know in the comments, one or two, if I pronounced it right. Another fighter from India, the last fighter from India we saw, it didn't go too well for him. I think he got knocked out in 10 seconds. And Bannon is a 185 favorite. She has some really solid grappling against the fence and really solid composure on the ground when she is in very stressful situations. I watched one of her fights where her opponent had a knee bar locked out. This is where her yoga and flexibility comes into play. Had a knee bar locked out. She stayed down there. She stayed composed, landed some solid liver shots, ended up getting out, ended up getting control on the ground. Now, Tomar, here's my thing. She leaves her chin very exposed when striking. I feel like she's a very low level striker. She struggles on the ground. She does have some very solid unorthodox kicks that she can work in. I just think Shauba Bannon is going to come out and I think she's going to win this fight. Give me the 185 favorite, Shauba Bannon. We have Christian Leroy Duncan and Andre Pulyaev. Andre Pulyaev. We're gonna call him Andre. That's probably wrong too. Yeah. No. Yep. Andre sounds about right. 0-0 in the UFC. 400 underdog. Christian Leroy Duncan. 3-2. That is wrong. That's wrong. He's not 3-2. Is he 3-2 in the UFC? Y'all let me know in the comments that I scuffed the record on that. I feel like he has more wins than that in the UFC. Not more losses though. A 535 favorite. His last fight went the distance, that being with a dog in Gregory Rodriguez. He has nasty knockout power. He has a good arsenal of knees and kicks. I think just towards the end of the fight, he gets a little conservative thinking he's won the fight. And I think if he goes out there and just puts it on for 3 rounds, he could beat anyone in the division. Not anyone in the division. I think he could put on some really good, solid fights against guys at the top of the division, but he kind of tapers off at the end. Fighting a guy that's 0-0 in the UFC, obviously hasn't seen any of the guys in the UFC. I mean, Christian Leroy's Duncan's out here boxing with some absolute goons. Has potential, but has a lot less experience than Christian Leroy Duncan. His cardio seems to taper off, and he leaves himself exposed where I think CLD, we're going to call him CLD, I think he can compromise. I think he can get a hold of him, and I think he can finish him. We're going Christian Leroy Duncan, the 535 favorite, with the dub. Next, we have Marcin, Tybura, and Parkin. Now, Tybura is the 135 favorite to the 114 underdog. He has seen a lot of dogs in heavyweight. He's 12-7. He's got a lot of knockout power. That Polish power we like to speak of. If he gets you on the ground, he is going to lay on you. He is vulnerable to being finished on the ground. If you get him in, let's say, vulnerable situations, he can be finished. He just has that solid, get you down and lay on you type power. He has good pressure against the cage. He's prone to falling into subs. Now, Parkin hasn't seen a lot of experience in the UFC. He is 4-0, hasn't fought a lot of big names. This is his first big step in the heavyweight division, but he has great cardio. He has great boxing in the pocket. And one thing Marcin Tybura has, he has really solid kicks. I think if Parkin can get in the pocket with him and box with him, it's gonna be a great day for Parkin. I believe this is our first underdog we're taking on the card. Give me Parkin with the W. Next, we have Kavanagh, 1-0 in the UFC, a 375 favorite. He has that Mexican boxing style that their heart is just absolutely insane. It's going to be hard to put them away because they are going to keep fighting until the end, taking on Felipe dos Santos, 1-2 in the UFC. This is the Diet do Bronx, baby, 295 underdog. I'm going with Kavanagh on this one. He has fast kicks. He has good distance gauging. He has nice counter striking. Taking on Felipe dos Santos, I feel like he has really erratic striking. He throws a lot without a lot of meaning. He leaves himself exposed. A lot of unnecessary movement. Now, if he has taken it to the next level to where he is throwing these strikes with calculation, he's not leaving himself as exposed. I could see Felipe dos Santos. The Felipe dos Santos coming out with a dub, but we're going with Kavanagh, the 375 favorite. After that, we have Herbert. If I can get this off the screen, we have Herbert and Chris Padilla, Taco Padilla, if I should say so myself. What a W nickname, by the way. What a W nickname. Herbert, 3-4 in the UFC, 120 favorite. Chris Padilla, 100 underdog, 2-0 in his UFC career. Now, Herbert has fought some absolute dogs. He has fought some absolute, and when I say dogs, I mean Ilia Topuria, Renato Moicano. He's been in there with some absolute demons. He has a good speed advantage in the striking department. Now, Chris Padilla, I've seen him fight. I mean, this man was tearing people apart with disgusting elbows. He'll get you against the cage. He'll wear you down with his elbows. He'll wear you down with short striking. He'll take you down, and he will dominate you on the ground. He has good pressure. I think that I'm going with the underdog here. Chris Taco Padilla. Why am I saying Padilla? Padilla? With Taco. We're going with Taco on this one. The 100-point underdog. After that, we have Nathaniel Wood and Morgan Charriere. Nathaniel Wood, undersized for the weight class. He has made a move in weight classes. He might steal some rounds with volume. He has really solid volume. But that being said, Morgan, I think, is a all-around better fighter, better striking, better on the ground, more power. He is the 192 favorite to Nathaniel Wood's 160 underdog. I'm rocking with Morgan Charriere on this one. Next, we have Jordan Vucenic, who is a very solid prospect in the UFC. Don't let the 0-1 record fool you. He is a 345 favorite to Chris Duncan's 3-1 UFC record. He is a 275 Underdog now, Jordan Vucenic, well-rounded with his wrestling. He'll look for a lot of takedowns because Chris Duncan, coming off the best win of his career, was a submission. It was a guillotine. He has really bad takedown defense. I can see Jordan going in there, mixing in striking, going for a lot of takedowns and a lot of control time on the ground. I would not be surprised to see Jordan Vucenic win by decision. We have Molly Meatball Mccann, 5-6 in her UFC career, a 155 underdog, taking on Alexia Thainara. Alexia Thainara, 0-0 in her UFC career, 180 favorite. This is a short notice fight for Alexia. We're rocking Molly Meatball Mccann. She's had a full camp. I feel like she has solid, crisp striking. And I think my big thing on here is, as I said, she's had a full camp. Alexia's taking this short notice against someone who's a pretty solid, well-rounded fighter and has had experience at this level in the UFC. Give us Molly Mccann. Next, we have our real main event of the evening. We have Gunnar Nelson, 10-4 in the UFC, 124 favorite, taking on the reigning, defending GOAT of the UFC, Kevin Holland, 13-10 in his UFC career, 148 underdog. The disrespect has to stop. Kevin Holland, one of the most well-rounded guys in the UFC. And I don't care what you say. He carried us through COVID. He fights every 2 to 3 months. This is what we want to see from fighters. Consistency. I don't care if you lost 5 in a row. Get back in that cage and we're going to give you the love you deserve. Shout out Kevin Holland. Yes, I'm rocking Kevin Holland with this one. I'm not telling you the ups. I'm not telling you the downs. It's Kevin Holland by absolute raw dog style. Next, we have Jan Blachowicz and Carlos Ulberg. Jan Blachowicz, 11-5 in the UFC, 185 underdog. Carlos Ulberg, 7-1 in his UFC career, 225 favorite. Now, Jan Blachowicz, we all know, has that Polish power. Very, very devastating. He's a smart fighter. He's the better grappler. I think Ulberg comes out and wins this fight. I think he can keep the distance with Jan Blachowicz. I think he's a solid striker. I think he's a better, more well-rounded striker than Jan. Jan just has more power than him. And as long as he can control the fight, get out of scenarios where he's getting taken down, stay off the cage, keep it at a distance, keep the striking going, I would not be surprised to see Carlos Ulberg come out here with the win. And last but not least, our main event of the evening. We have Leon Rocky Edwards, 13-3 in the UFC, a 130 underdog, taking on Sean the Dawn Brady. Now, is that really his nickname? I have absolutely no clue. He is 7-1 in his UFC career. He is a 155 favorite. Now, Leon Edwards, he's going to want to keep the fight on the feet. Sean Brady is going to want to take you down and control you on the ground. And if y'all remember what happened in Leon Edwards' last fight, he's pretty prone to getting taken down and controlled on the ground. Shout out, remember the name. Shout out Bilal Muhammad. Sean Brady wants to get the fight to the ground. He has amazing control and he has great cardio even when it comes to wrestling. A lot of guys, when they wrestle a lot, you'll see them gas out. Sean Brady is not that guy. He's going to get you down. He's going to take you down. He's going to make you weather the storm. This is a 5-round fight. It's going to be interesting to see if Leon can keep it off the ground, keep it at a distance. And here's the thing with Leon. If you don't let him control the pace, he folds, he crumbles. Give me Sean Brady, the 155 favorite. Those are our official UFC London picks, predictions, and upsets. Let us know down in the comment, again, your lock of the card and your upset of the card and what you want to see next for Leon Rocky Edwards and Sean Brady. Don't forget, like and follow.